Welcome to Storytelling with Ann McKee. Today, I'd like to talk about our father of Meridian, Richard McLemore, and his wife Nancy. You see, they came to Meridian, this area, which wasn't Meridian at all, but the western frontier, in 1834. Mr. McLemore had received 700 acres by the signing of the Dancing Rabbit Treaty in 1830. He and his family came from Georgia, actually settled up down in what was known later as Scott County before moving into this area. They had loaded up their wagon pulled by oxen with all the important things, maybe a small table, to eating table, a couple of chairs, some bedding, a bedstead, pots and pans, and most importantly, a spinning wheel, and the cards in which to sort out the seeds from the cotton when they made their own clothing. That was quite an invention. And the local Indians, the friendly Choctaws, were so impressed with the spinning wheel. They'd never seen anything like that. Now they were friendly and helpful and became good friends to the settlers who came in at that time by the influence of their great chief, Pushmataha, who had passed on in 1824. And he's buried in the Congressional Cemetery in Washington, D.C. You see, at the time, he was friends with General Andrew Jackson and brought his braves to fight during the Battle of New Orleans. And it said, had he not shown up with his braves, his soldiers, maybe that battle would have been lost. And so, yes, he was impressed with the white man. He wanted his children to be educated. He wanted his people to have these modern conveniences as they were at the time that the white man brought with them. So here is Nancy and Richard McLemore, a young couple, enjoying the influences from that great chief, Pushmataha, who, where it's documented, he stood 6'2" and had a beautiful voice that sounded like a rippling waterfall when he spoke. Now, you ladies think we have a hard time today keeping our clothes washed, taking care of the children, but Nancy, in order to do her laundry, would have to hook up the wagon, get buckets of water, just for household needs, but go down to the creek. She had a special rock where she did her laundry. And then cook up the meals. It was 24/7, and that's before that term had ever been established. But by the time she was 32 years old, they had 7 children. And Mr. McLemore began to have an urge for families to join this area, so he gave away land. And this brought young families in to what eventually became Lauderdale County, Meridian, Mississippi. And there were schools and churches, and then the railroads. So stay tuned. Have I got a story for you about the early railroads in Meridian, Mississippi?